make the transition from kindergarten to first grade to second grade easier and more universal in the building. One of the great advantages about being in a building where all the kindergartners are together, all the first graders, second graders, is that we really have a handle on being able to present some common universal language. So when we talk about calling something a particular way or naming it or doing strategies, it is because that's the strategy that the child is going to hear about in kindergarten, where you're going to do some very important foundational work. It's going to carry on to first grade and it's going to carry on to second grade. So you guys are the beginners. You're the first teachers here, and we want to be able to do a good job. And as Tina said, if it doesn't make sense, here's the place to ask about it. But also, I know when you get into your day, you're on the fly. We're all on the fly here. You need first go-to person is your classroom teacher. She knows the children. She typically knows your style. She knows how to talk to you best. Second line of defense is Tina. And third line of defense is coming back to this group and saying, okay, here it is. I tried it. It didn't work. Or what am I doing wrong? Or how can I access this better? So that's what this is about. In other years, we've tried to do this input session in 2 weeks' time, 2 sessions. This year, Tina and I are being more humane to you as well as to ourselves to say, let's slow it down. Let's put it over 4 weeks. Hopefully then you can ask the questions you need to ask. Maybe there'll be a chance for you to be trying something a little bit in the classroom you're in, although team lit and grouping kids won't happen until after we're done with this, right?
Right.
Okay, so we want this to be interactive. It's not about us just standing here and drilling a hole in your head and pouring it in. We know we have lots of levels of preparation in this group. Some of you who have taught, some of you who are in teacher prep classes now, some of you who have never taught, who came from another career and are actually coming into this. So no question is a stupid question or something that someone else might not be thinking of. As we think about team literacy, we're going to be talking about actually this whole model of differentiation. What do we do for the most emergent level readers? We call those kids pre-A. That is, they may not have language, English language, which we have a preponderance of students here. They may have no early reading literacy skills at all. And then we're going to work all the way up to those children who probably now are sitting in kindergarten reading at the end of first grade or emerging to second grade level. That's the level or the range that your classroom teacher is trying to appeal to. So it's huge. So we have this great continuum of kids, with this great continuum of adults who have come here saying, I want to be involved in this, I want to do it. This morning, our goal is really to just talk about the earliest emergent readers, the pre-A students. And so with that, I want to show you a book that Tina and I are going to be using. We did not dream this up. This is an actual text that was developed by Jan Richardson. If you're interested in buying this book, you could buy it and keep it because it's going to have the lesson formats and everything you need. Tina and I will give you some sheets, but we can't do all of what she has done here. This is not a real expensive book. If you're planning to go on in education, this would be a good one to own. It's very current in terms of how do we talk about, how do we administer and give a good guided reading lesson. So this would be a good one to have. We are going to have some handouts from it, and we're going to try and go slowly enough so that you understand what is happening. So this morning, our goal is to talk about pre-A readers. And we're going to see a lesson plan that shows if you are going to be one of the teachers who has a little group of 5 or 6 in front of you, and they're pre-A readers, early literacy skills, what do you need to do in order to help them to move up the ladder? So Tina is going to do the first part of the lesson, and she has some handouts, I think.
Okay, so Jan, I'll refer to her as the author of that book, she describes a pre-A reader as someone who knows less than 40 letters, and so we're putting uppercase and lowercase together there, and less than 5 sounds. So I guess I gotta stand here, right?
Sure.
So everyone's always asking, is guided reading appropriate for kindergarten, and what does it look like? Well, this is exactly what we're showing here. A lot of kids in our kindergarten do come as pre-A readers. In another school, they probably almost all be pre-A readers. The pre-A readers are usually the ones I get. But the way we're doing Teen Lit this year is hopefully those kids are going to get a double dose. So they're going to be involved in the Teen Lit group and see me in addition, so that they're getting it twice. They're our most vulnerable little guys. Carol and I call them the low babies. And, you know, we need to get them far this year. So basically, Jan's lesson plan goes through, for pre-A lesson, if you look at the sheet, 8 ways of working with letters, working with names, working with sounds, working with books, and an interactive writing and cut up. Those who know Beverly Tyner, Pat, she does some similar things. Sometimes you can integrate with other authors, which I'll show. This is what I do pretty much for the next 10 weeks is this. So I have lots of ways, because I need 100 different ways to do the same thing. And basically, I want to show you, and you've all seen it before, is that every day I always go over the entire alphabet. Even though kindergarten may be only focusing on M and S that week, whatever it is, I always do the whole alphabet to begin with. They do this in the classroom with Haggerty, but I want them to see it again. So some days I might cover up the lowercase and just have them look at the uppercase, S, snakes, and say the sound. We do the whole thing, T, top, T. Other days I might cover up the, the uppercase and go over the lowercase. Go through the whole thing. In the beginning, sometimes they might just have to repeat it, or I say, you just listen. For like a week or two, I'll say, you just listen. I just want you to listen. And then they start joining in, and so that's one way. The Haggerty also does capitals one day. D, the letter is D and the sound is D. The letter is B and the sound is B. I mean, really quick and dirty. The next day they might just do lowercase. The letter is, the sound is. Other days I might pull out this sheet, which you've seen in the classroom, and I might have the little pointers that I use. Pat uses fingernails, and they might go A, apple, A, B, bat, B, C, cat, K. Another day, as they get better with their sounds, they might just go A, B. I mean, there's all different ways. Again, I do it different every day. I'm doing a lot of this more in the beginning because I want them to make those connections. If they see a T, I want them to think top, T, and they begin to do that. You're just kind of developing that connection so they have something to, in their brain that they could remember. Okay, over time they're going to be making those correct connections. Usually, I just do the alphabet really quick, and then I kind of skip the working with letters, and I go right on to names. Okay, Jan has 3 ways to working with names. Again, that's some of our kids. There's a few can't write their names and don't know the letters in their names. So, one thing. You're going to laugh because I use Bob, is to have like a name puzzle. And early on, it might just be putting Rob and Ert together. Okay, hopefully they're beyond this, but I might do this on the first day. And then we'd go over R-O-B-E, and we go over our letters. Then we break it up into a puzzle. Now this is a really good thing. You're going to find that when kids move to their team lit groups, some of them might be a little late. So if you have this out on the desk already, you could start with it, and they can be putting their puzzles together, and not wasting time. We can't waste a minute with these guys. Okay, so they're putting their puzzle together, and you're talking about it. What's the first sound what's the first letter in your name? What's the last one? How many E's do you have in your name? Okay, you're talking about it. And if he doesn't remember how to write it, then you're chanting it with him. You're trying to build those memories. The next day you might have his model out, and you might do it with magnetic letters or plastic letters. I have this really nice, and Carol has it too. It's from Primary Concepts. It's all organized and everything, and I just pull and make little bags. My mom also saves me like those little margarine tubs, so I use those a lot. You have to have everything ready. You have to have all the names ready, all your letters you're going to use ready, so again, not to waste time. Jan does name writing or rainbow writing, and I've updated it to with the iPad. If you go to Absolute Board, you make a nice name, Robert. Absolute Board. You get a blank page.
O-A or O-R-E?
O-A-R-D.
Oh, org.
Or board. B-O-R. Yeah.
Like a blackboard.
Like a blackboard.
So
Is there an
it's
icon?
really simple.
There's an icon?
So I wrote Robert's name. I click on the rainbow. I can change the color. Okay? And then Robert can go R, O, B. I'm not in the E, R. It's hard to write like this when I'm nervous. Robert. He can change the color again. Do it again and again and again. And you talk about it. What's your name start with? We have to say these things over and over. I know it gets a little boring, but they need to hear it. If you click this little tool right here, it's the erasing tool. It's right under the rainbow. I make them erase it. R. Oh, they love
We can
this.
put this up on the small.
Okay. I'm not that technologically.
I'm
I'm gonna stop with that. But you get the idea how that's an updated Jan Richardson, okay? To get the iPad in. This is just a few minutes, guys. You pick one of these a day, okay? Carol, did you want to add?
I was just going to say on the pencil thing and where to start, you might very cleverly, put a bigger dot as to where the letter starts.
Yeah.
I mean, Tina's going to
Right.
be,
Handwriting books.
Tina's going to be talking about the handwriting without tears, but if there's a dot up here, then they understand where to start, because this is just not about learning the letters in their name, but, another benefit is the handwriting piece. Lots and lots of practice of that. So where to start, and the letter name and the letter sound. Pass.
Again, it sounds like a silly question.
No, I don't know how to answer that question yet, okay? Yes.
Tina, you said you were nervous, and
Right.
I feel bad if I'm one of the people that made you nervous, because I know
No,
I
that's
have a
just
negative
me. This
thing.
is my own
No, but
thing.
every time I have to do a lesson, I'm nervous because it's so.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry if I, for one, have emitted a negative attitude. It's just,
Oh, you're not.
I only go where
Not
I'm
negative. It's just
comfortable.
like you want.
You're taking this
yeah.
old lady somewhere she's never
Right.
been. It's good for me, but it's scary.
I know.
So I'm going to try to be more positive.
No
I
worries.
apologize.
Okay, listen. If your aides, classroom teachers have 5 minutes, Jan says this is the most effective method for getting kids to know their letters, besides Letter Factory. Okay. Because Haggerty would just say that's a wonderful little tool there. Okay, so I made this little tracer and I put dots and I sit next to the kid and we trace A, uppercase, lowercase. We say apple, We do B. It's not fun. It's a little, but you just do it, and it literally takes just a couple minutes with each kid. In the morning from 9 to 9:15, for the next 8 weeks, I'm going to be trying to do this with my low babies. Also in the afternoon, that's what that little cloud was in your schedule. With the kids that are really low, I'm going to be doing this. But if aides have a couple minutes a day free that they could do this with their low babies,
Rest
this
time.
is good use of time. Jan says in 2 months, everyone will know their letters. But for kids, maybe perhaps who know less than 10 at this point, it might take 3. So
So
Is this at the beginning
the research on this is phenomenal.
Can you
in
get us all
terms of-
copies of them?
I will.
Okay,
Do
you'll get
you have
that.
the
Thank you.
papers? Remember the papers you gave us last year? It was just on a regular sheet of paper and you had it all on the sheet of paper? We all
Oh,
have
that's.
This, we
that's
just went
this
over
part.
that.
Yeah.
So we stick that in our chair bag, we stick
No.
that in our chair bag and the kids pull them out and they'll even do it if they have an extra couple minutes. And I know it's driven by them.
Right,
which
but
maybe
this is the
they'll-
actual, the multi-sensory part of it. But, you know, the good thing about doing apple, as part of one of your days a week of going over all the letters, we talked about using
Yeah.
whatever before you came in, is they don't know where the letters are on this chart, and you're trying to get them a sense. Later, down the line, my lesson might be in the morning, my ABC lesson might be, what letter starts the word muscle? Or, you know, and they'd have to find, but that's as we get down the line, and they have to figure out, well, now I need to think, it's M, and then I'm like, is M in the beginning, the middle, or the end? They have to have all this whole sense of, nothing is, Carol has taught me that we have to think really little with these guys, for lack of a better word. I mean, nothing is too simple. We have to lay it all out for them. Okay, working with letters. One day, when they come in, somebody's coming in. You know, 2 people are here, 2 are coming. You can have all the letters you've worked on, maybe like 6 letters. The first 6 letters that M-A-R-S, according to our curriculum or Jolly Phonics or whatever. We're gonna have to let you know on that one. And then they're matching uppercase and lowercase. That could be your letter work for the day. She has 8 ways of looking at letters. It's on page 64 of this book, which I'm going to give you. Some of them I don't necessarily agree with, and one of them I don't.
Tina, do you think we could hand those out?
yeah.
So people
Do you have a
can
big
make
X on
notes
it?
And
Then they don't have
I'm
to
also
write
going
it.
to show you from Fountas and Pinnell how I integrate, again, because those 8 ways get a little boring. So I integrate some things with Fountas and Pinnell and
And while Tina,
other things.
while Tina's passing that out, I want you to just look at your lesson sheet here on pre-A.
Is yours?
And I want you to pick up your pen right now, and I want you right outside of the box of your lesson plan, right here, to write 3 to 4 minutes. That's all that is required of you, is a 3 to 4 minute
With names?
with letter names, letter words,
It
letter
could be
names.
a little, because this is only a 20-minute lesson. It could be pushed to 5 or 6, I noticed.
Okay,
Because our lessons are 30 minutes. But again, we lose some time with movement. So
Where's that go?
these are just,
right outside of this box. And the only reason why I say that, the only reason why I say that is because Tina's going to show you a lot of things. It doesn't mean you're doing all of them in the lesson at once.
Right.
Pick 1 or 2, okay? Keep it short, keep it sweet. Remember, 5-year-olds have, some of them, the attention span of a flea. So you're going to jump right in there. You're not television. You're not a video game where they can snap you on and off or move you around the screen. So you have to be thinking about where their mind's going. The next part just down there with working with sounds, you see that next segment? That's 2 or 3 minutes. Please note that, because I want you to keep track of that when you're planning and also when you're doing it, because this is where people get bogged down. They say, oh my gosh, I didn't get to the whole lesson. This will be my part, but I'm going to just have you do it now. Under working with books, 5 minutes. That's all you're going to do. Okay? And the last part, interactive writing, 5 minutes. Okay, all right, Lisa, or Tina?
Lisa. Okay, all right, so on page 65, we have 8 ways of working with letters. Again, you're just doing it for a couple of minutes. Match the letters in the bag. I already brought it up. You can't waste time. Have stuff out in the beginning that you did the day before. Rotate it. You could even, you want them to have something to do as soon as they come in. Matching letters to the alphabet chart. Match uppercase, lower. Sorting. I'm going to talk more of that. The one I don't always agree with is name a word that begins with that letter. For a typical class, they could come up with a ton of, words. But when you get into intervention with my little low babies, guess what? They have a lot of trouble coming up with those words. So that might take a while.
What page are you on?
65.
Thanks.
I was gonna ask, I've been using some of the ESL kids, like one of those just simple puzzles with letters, is that a good idea or no? For letter recognition identification, like when he puts in the letter in the puzzle, it says A,
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe you can use or?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I'll show you that. Okay, so let's talk about sorting. Okay, I'm all over the place. Again, like if you're on M, S, and T and you want to practice that, on Fridays I might use Play-Doh, roll it out. Again, just a couple minutes. Let them know it's only going to be 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to make a T, we're going to make an S, we're going to make an M. I have these little sandboxes, okay? Did I ever make an M or make an S? Again, just again for variation. I'm doing this really fast, I know, but I get long, pipe cleaners. Sometimes they can make a P or, L. Just, again, multi-sensory, fun, couple minutes, attention span. We're talking about attention span. I also have these Wilson boards. They're like magnetic. Oh, by the way, with the, remember I did the rainbow writing on the iPad? I do that with sight words as the time goes on. This is like a magnetic thing. I mean, anything to make it fun. Whiteboards one day, little handwriting without tears. And you're also talking about, if you're working on S, you're using the language, okay? Let's talk about, I know I'm going so fast, but I want to talk about sorting because I think it's really important. I gave this to the classroom teachers. This is, do you know how Jan says sort by color? Well, there's way many more ways to sort by, to do sorting. I gave this to Kelly. She's probably going to be doing some in the learning center, but, again, our babies need to hear it again. I gave that to Laura. So this is from Fountas and Canal, and it's all different ways to sort. And it's getting kids to look at the features. Could you look at the third to the last page? Look at how many ways there are to sort. Tunnels, no tunnels. Long sticks, short sticks. Tall, short, dots, no dots. Uppercase, lowercase. Next page there's even more. I wouldn't do consonants and vowels yet. Slanted lines, tails, no tails, circles, no circles. So those are all different ways. You're getting kids to look at features. You're working with all the letters, and even if they don't know them that, you label, oh, look at the B has a long stick. The C doesn't have a stick at all. I bring out these and I say, if we're sorting by long, I bring out the handwriting without tears materials, and I give them a sense of what a long stick is. We talk about N and H. H has a long stick, N has a short stick. Big curve, little curve. The circles are hard. I say, okay, a B you could stick your finger in. That's a circle. You know what I mean? So they sometimes don't know. Again, the other thing is that sometimes Susan Ann Hall gave this idea to me. You want them to have their own space because, when they're working with letters and they're flying all over, sometimes this is really nice for each person to have their mat because it's sticky and they can't fly off the table and okay, just talking about a little management thing there. Okay, so that's sorting.
Do you know where we can get those mats?
I just got them at anywhere. They're like $1, you know.
When you can buy just rolls of it and
Yeah.
then cut out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea.
It's like Bed Bath and Beyond or Joann's
Sure,
or anything.
I got those
They
at
use it-
Sunset. They
use
were
it
like
in
$2.
liners.
I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
use it in liners for like.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I want.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm looking at all
It's
my
like, let's get a roll and we can all chip in.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know I have some extra from. when
Okay,
I line
guys,
Where?
when you're
From when I
working with
line
these
my
little
closet
guys,
shelves.
Oh.
I could make some.
this is Jan's little sheet, you know, as Cyril says, Christy loves this stuff. If you have this on a clipboard, this is how you keep track of as you work daily with your little guys. What do they know? What sounds do they know? And you just kind of check off really quickly, and it's like just a little assessment. Maybe they didn't know S yesterday, but they know today. Did you give Pat one over there?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And again, you can fit more than one student on there, which is nice. You can have your whole group on there. Just a little, little assessment thing. How much?
Just a note on this. If you're smart in using this well, you are crossing off or circling the letters that the student knows. Now, we are so programmed as teachers to mark the wrong. He doesn't know this one, he doesn't know this one, he doesn't know this one. This idea is to circle or mark the ones that he knows, so that when you go to plan the next lesson, you say, where do I need to teach next? Okay, so it's always about noting what the student knows or has as a skill. Okay, for some teachers that's a very difficult shift because we're used to red pens. If you're old like me, you're used to the red pen and the checking off. This is about what do they know so I know where to go next. If you have this sitting right next to you in your group as you're teaching and you suddenly discover, boy, Johnny didn't know B 2 days ago, but now he's got it. Mark it.
So this is constant. You're constantly
Yes,
doing this.
you're constantly doing this. And this should be, if there aren't enough spaces for it, your group is a little bit larger, use 2. Or make this longer, attach it at the bottom.
Or
Make
you
it
could use
usable.
different color every day, you know.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Or
however.
every week,
Right.
like this is the red week, look how much he absorbed this week. Now next week I'm gonna mark in green, look how much he's learned or hasn't learned, okay? But think about what he knows. That's the important piece with this.
Okay, I'm going into, again, that is only supposed to be 5 minutes, but I wanted you to have lots of ways to do the same thing for those pre-A's. This is what I do all day, okay? And I need variation of the same thing, but in a different way. Okay, so now I'm moving into working with sounds. I don't use Jan's stuff, I use Heggerty. So I know you've all seen your classroom teachers hopefully do Heggerty, and Danielle, I'll have to talk to you separately. There are 5 non-negotiable skills that he suggests for intervention for your low babies. So if they do the whole group, I do 4 skills a day, or really 5. In my intervention, so they're doing it again, okay? So we've already done the letter names and the sounds. That's going over the whole alphabet. Remember in the beginning, however way you do it, lots of different ways to do it. So we've already done that. So now there's 4 ways to do the phonemic awareness, okay? So here's the 4 non-negotiables after all the letters and sounds. Onsent fluency, which is the beginning sound. Ba, b. I use this a lot in everything I do coming up. Jump, j, okay? That's called onsent fluency, getting that beginning sound. Blending, right? In the beginning, it's bathroom, bathroom. They love this one. Underwear, underwear. I say that one every day and it makes everybody giggle. Segmenting is the opposite of that. So bathroom, bathroom. I mean, and then those things become more smaller pieces of sounds. B, at, bat. That's the blending. And again, you have to be able to do it by hearing it first before you see the letters and everything. That's why this is an important skill for reading and spelling. The other thing is later on segmenting. You'll say bat and you go bat. You chop it up. And then the final. So it's onsets, blending, segmenting, and final and medial sounds. In the beginning, it's just final. So job. He goes job. He says it again. Book. Yes. I can't. Yes. I'm gonna practice. I gotta start seeing kids soon. Buzz. Okay. A lot of times I just go buzz, and if I just highlight it that. And and this is a little pet peeve of mine. Make sure you're doing it left to right so the kids can see it. And you also need to make sure that they're using the right arm because if they're doing the opposite, they're going right to left. You just always want to reinforce that left to right. Okay,
So remember, it's opposite for you.
Yeah.
You're modeling it. You're going this way.
When I go into the classroom and the kids are doing that, I always make sure everybody's arms are right because you want left to right.
Okay, so we're using.
Oh, there we go. Pocket chart. I might have
this sometimes instead of this for the first class.
I might have B and S out, and we're sorting. I don't know if you guys have these, but these are from Tyner. I made 2 copies, and if anybody wants more, I can make more. But these are just little sorts that you put a B and maybe an S that day if you've covered them, and then you're talking. It's a discussion. It's not like they're doing this on their own, and I pull in the Haggerty. Banana. What does banana start with? Banana. Okay, you're getting them to use the strategies in other places, so they're using sun, S. Okay.
I get the Haggerty
Mhm.
because I have a terrific trainer.
Right.
But is this still going on letters? Like, is this something you could do?
We're going on. We're in the section of working with sounds.
Okay.
So the Haggerty that I just did, the 5 non-negotiables, really
That's
4.
sound. Yeah.
That's like her clapping syllables and rhyming words. Picture sorts. I'm on picture sorts, basically. If you do a sound sort. Okay? So I'm still in sounds.
Oh, I just read it for us.
Could I interject?
Yeah.
Oh.
You're gonna give everyone copies.
Yeah, well, if everyone wants these, I don't know. You should have these from last year, but yeah. How many people want the sorts? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. Okay. I'll just make them for everybody. I just didn't know.
How long is tea total?
Half hour. But see, again, I'm giving you a variety of ways to do things. You're gonna have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know it's not gonna be this long.
Just
Go ahead.
I was just going to insert this, friends. If
Excuse the interruption, we will be bringing students inside off the buses today as it is pouring out.
now, does that mean you are on duty?
Yeah.
In what, 5 minutes?
No,
Or-
now.
Yeah.
22.
Okay, let me wind this part up,
Sorry.
and then next week we'll just pick up where we left off.
That's why we like to have more time.
Yeah. Okay, if I could just have your attention here, because this is really important. If you are in a classroom where the Haggerty lesson is going on, start tuning in to what the teacher is doing. Because for this segment of working with sounds, with clapping syllables, rhyming words, and all of that, you can just pick that up right out of that lesson and drop it right into here. It's a no-brainer. When you go to plan your lesson, you're going to write the rhyming words that you're going to use here, the pairs, or you're going to write the words that you're going to clap. For these pre-A emergent children, hearing it with the classroom teacher in whole group and then working on it in a small group again is what they need. The name of the game for pre-A learners is repetition, repetition, repetition. So you don't have to dream up anything new here. If you're listening to what your classroom teacher is doing and modeling, you just pick it up and use that same thing.
So we should use the Haggerty of the week the day
You
that
could.
we did in the classroom?
You could, or you're generally, you could even be back a week.
Okay,
Because
Mhm.
these are the kinds of kids that aren't gonna get it the first time.
all right.
If you look at those students sitting in the class,
Mellow
everybody,
Uh-huh.
I mean, this,
everybody
a lot of
is,
this stuff works too, you know?
everybody else is doing it, and you can see they don't even know where to look, what to listen for, or if they've heard it, watch their lips. They're just sort of mumbling along,
Yeah.
which is fine. But in these small guided reading groups now, you're able to break it down so they get it. So if you say mat, bat, say it slowly. Do they rhyme? If they rhyme, we're going to put our thumbs up. So watch what your teacher is doing. Now you've got the next couple of weeks to observe that. That whole section on sounds doesn't need to be dreamed up every week by you.
And you don't need to do all 10. Sometimes they
Yes.
just do 5. Again, similar sounds, you might have them use a little mirror. Where's your mouth? What's your throat doing? You know, that kind of thing. Always helps, you know. I'm sorry. Sorts, I have little objects too, which is fun. Different way. They love that. Okay, sorry I didn't finish. I hope you got
Bring
something
all
out of
your
it.
videos.
Thank you so much.
Same time, same place. We'll see you then.
Sorry, Karen.